Hi there, welcome back to my reading of all the books from Oblivion. I realised that last week's reading, the list I went off actually was all of the books, but it's split into two sections. So first it had the skill books, and then it had the rest of them, with a couple of other books like sections interspersed. But that meant that the 2920 series that we started on isn't actually 3 books long like I thought. It's about 12 books. So I made the decision to come back to them periodically, and we'll start with the beginning of them and go through them. But I think instead of getting into this long series of lore, I want to find my feet a little bit first with just the rest of books and seeing what else there is. So today we have a children's Anuad. I believe that's how that's pronounced. The other big change I've made, I've read this before. This isn't a fresh reading, so just keep that in mind. I don't know if that'll change anything, but it feels like I have some ideas already ruminating in my brain box. So, this is a book from the Elder Scrolls Oblivion. I want to see, who's it written by? Anonymous. Let's start. The first ones were brothers, Anu and Padome. They came into the void and time began. As Anu and Padome wandered the void, the interplay of light and darkness created Ner. Both Anu and Padome were amazed and delighted with her appearance, but she loved Anu, and Padome retreated from them in bitterness. So, we have a creation story. That's what we're on today. Creation of the lands and such. Ner became pregnant, but before she gave birth, Padome returned, professing his love for Ner. She told him that she loved only Anu, and Padome beat her in rage. Anu returned, fought Padome, and cast him outside time. Ner gave birth to creation, but died from her injuries soon after. Anu grieving, hid himself in the sun and slept. So this is very much a creation myth that you would find, I believe, in a lot of classical sort of I can't think of the word now, Christianity and Judaism type religions. They sort of have multiple gods, there's interplay between them, and we also have the creation of light and darkness. I'm not going to reference directly what religions this kind of goes to because I'm not got loads and loads of knowledge on it, but it's definitely playing in that space. It's creating a creation myth out of characters, and these characters have human-like sort of interactions with each other. Saying that it's immediate with domestic violence, so it's sort of starting off with a very dark tone, and I imagine that's probably relating a little bit towards ancient Greek sort of mythology, because there was always crazy stuff going on within those stories. Again, not super knowledgeable, but I know it's kind of creating their own version of that. Ner became pregnant, but before she gave birth, Padome returned, professing his love for Ner. Oh, we've read that. Meanwhile, life sprang up on the 12 worlds of creation and flourished. After many ages, Padome was able to return to time. He saw creation and hated it. He swung his sword, shattering the 12 worlds in their alignment. Anu woke and fought Padome again. The long and furious battle ended with Anu the victor. He cast aside the body of his brother, who he believed was dead, and attempted to save creation by forming the remnants of the 12 worlds into one. Nirn, the world of Tamriel. As he was doing so, Padome struck him through the chest with one last blow. Anu grappled with his brother and pulled them both outside of time forever. So, the world was created in an act of violence, and not only that, the act of violence was definitely portrayed as male on female in one sense, and then male on male, and then pulled them both outside of time. The blood of Padme became the Daedra, the blood of Anu became the stars, the mingled blood of both became the Aedra, hence their capacity for good and evil, and their greater affinity for earthly affairs than Daedra, who have no connection to creation. I didn't click with that. They have no connection to creation on the Daedra. And the Aedra actually involve themselves in the day-to-day. I wonder how much of this is mythos that had developed between the people, or how much of this is true. Because that's like an interesting component with a mythical world such as this. You know, in our world, we have these stories, and you don't know. Well, now we're in the more technical age, you can mostly assume that some of them are myth or have fell into myth. But I imagine to the people reading this, or to living in these mythological ages, it felt like deadly real. Whereas when you're working in a world that literally has magic, what actually is myth and what is a factual retelling of the past. I also noticed here as well, like the light and dark are both being portrayed as good and evil, which is a very... To be fair, that's like ingrained mechanically in the game with fame and infamy. You know, your character... He can be both, though. He can be famous and infamous. But your actions are moralised in this game. You are seen as being good or evil, depending on what you do in certain cases. You know, no one's looking at the Dark Brotherhood and being like, well, you know, some of them are alright. On the world of Nirn, all was chaos. The only survivors of the 12 worlds of creation were the Elenophae and the Hist. The Elenophae are the ancestors of Mer and Mem, and the Hist are the trees of the Argonia. Nirn originally was all land, with interspersed seas but no oceans. Pangea. A large fragment of the Elenophae world landed on Nirn relatively intact, and the Elenophae living there were the ancestors of the Mer. These Elenophae fortified their borders from the chaos outside, hid their pocket of calm, and attempted to live on as before. Other Elenophae arrived on Nirn, scattered amid the confused jumble of the shattered worlds, wandering and finding each other over the years. Eventually, the wandering Elenophae found the hidden lands of the old Elenophae and were amazed and joyful to find their kin living amid the splendour of the past. The wandering Elenophae expected to be welcomed into the peaceful realm, but the old Elenophae looked on them as degenerates, fallen from their former glory. For whatever reason, war broke out and raged across the whole of Nirn. The old Elenophae retained their ancient power and knowledge, but the Wanderers were more numerous and toughened by their long struggle to survive on Nirn. I like the way there's already like a technological aspect to this. This war reshaped the face of Nirn, sinking much of the land beneath the new oceans and leaving the lands as we know them: Tamriel, Akavir, Atamora, and Yakuda. The old Elenophae realm, although ruined, became Tamriel. That's where we are. The remnants of the Wanderers were left divided on the other 3 continents. Over many years, the Elenophae of Tamriel became the Mer, elves, the Dwemer, deep ones or dwarves, the Chimer, the changed ones who later became the Dunmer, the dark or cursed ones, the dark elves, the Bosmer, the green or forest ones, the wood elves, the Altmer, elder or high ones, the high elves. On the other continents, the wandering Elenophae became men, the Nords of Atmora, and the red gods of Yakuda, and the Tseki of the Akavir. So this big battle turned into creation, and then this large war spread the people out. It's interesting because they've chosen a mythological story, I think, that is so rooted in our own myth and types of myth, and just operates within one of those frameworks so much. And I think it's almost like, it'd be cool if there's some background for this, but then we're just going to carry on creating the rest of the game out of it. It's not like... I don't feel like anything that I'm reading right now is super integral to the world of Oblivion or the Elder Scrolls in general. This is a aspect of it that you can engage with and read in if you choose to. It's not giving the structures of the types of stories. It is telling a backwards myth and just being like, how can we get it so that we have all of these people wandering the world? The Hist were bystanders in the Elenophae war, but their realm was destroyed as the war passed over it. A small corner of it survived to become the Black Marsh in Tamriel, but most of their realm was sunk beneath the sea. Which, whenever I think of mass destruction in a wartime, you have to bring back images of various wars that we've done, to be fair. Eventually, men returned to Tamriel. The Nords were first, colonising the northern coast of Tamriel before recorded history, led by the legendary Ysgramor. The 13th of his line, King Harald, was the first to appear written in history, and so the mythic era ended. So yeah, there's a divide there. King Harald was the first to appear in written history, and so the mythic era divided. So there's a sort of nod to what I was saying earlier about the mythic era being something that is out of the touch of written evidence and just something that was passed down in words. So there's almost a nod to it, this being a mythos that developed for everyone. But I think the way it talks so directly between these wars and destructions of certain lands probably cements it a touch more in it actually having happened. I don't know, actually. No, I disagree with that previous statement of what I've just said. I think maybe, yeah, it is a nod towards it being mythical. But it doesn't... It definitely feels... This particular story feels more like fluff or, you know, a background. It doesn't centre any of the components in a way that dictates the types of stories that you can tell with them. But I think it's still an interesting piece of lore, and I'm certainly getting the idea. I know we're 2 books in, so it's kind of hard to have a grand idea of all this, but I'm getting the idea that these... It doesn't feel like they're written in conjunction with the story. It feels like these are almost given to a separate team. It's like, go write some cool stuff about Oblivion. Not, right, we have these particular things going on in this world. How can we, like, connect all this together? But anyway, that's 2 books into our adventure, our journey through all of the books. I think I'm getting a very slim idea of it all, but we're going to need to read way more to figure it out. So join me next time when we do that. Drop a like of the video if you enjoyed this little weird side project that I'm on. Yeah, subscribe if you've enjoyed it as well, and all that sort of stuff. I meant to do a call to action comment thing. Just if you've got any questions or thoughts, put them in the comment section. I'll have a look. There we go. There's a call to action. Enjoy it. My name's been Billy. Thank you and goodbye.